Hey everyone, Sergio with the Rideshare Guy. Welcome to another episode of Behind the Wheel. Today I'm joined by Anwar from Palm Springs, beautiful Palm Springs, California, where all the rich and famous go to play in California, I guess. So how you doing, Anwar?
Not too bad, not too bad.
Yeah, you're
Just
hanging in there.
hanging in
So,
here, enjoying my day off.
okay, well, Thursdays are pretty good days to take off, actually. Introduce yourself to our audience and what you did before, how long you've been doing rideshare, and how many trips you have. And we'll get into the gripe session later, but let's just
Okay.
introduce you properly.
All right. My name is Anwar, and I've been doing Uber since I started September of 2023. Actually, I found it by accident, and I tried it just for one day, just to check it out. And here I am a year later, still doing it. So it was working. At that time, I was out in the Reno Valley Riverside area when I first
Okay.
started, and for about the first couple weeks. But so I'm out in Palm Springs area. Um, I started doing Lyft at the same time. I had a friend try to talk me into do Lyft. I wasn't interested because Uber was working so well for me. And then about 4 months into doing Uber, I decided to try Lyft, and to my surprise, it was a lot better than Uber. I was a lot happier, and I
That's
ended up actually,
interesting. That's
yeah,
interesting. Okay. I'm not gonna call you a total newbie, but a year is not that long of a time. So
right.
what do you consider yourself a full-time driver, part-time driver?
I'm full time. Yes, I'm full time.
So this is your livelihood, basically?
This is my livelihood. I do other things on the side. However, this is the only consistent that I can count on. The other things that I do are gig work, computer work, stuff like that. So
Yeah. So basically, this is, you pay the bills with this.
that's how I pay my bills. Yes.
Okay. What kind of car do you drive, by the way?
I drive a 2022 Tesla.
Oh, okay.
I
Well,
own it. It's not a rental.
a three or Y
Model
or
three. Yeah.
Model
I
three?
started off in the rental program, and I did that for 3 months. And I had planned on buying my own Tesla anyway. I'm glad I bought it when I did, um, because we had went through a pay cut right around that time, and the cost of the Tesla rental that I was paying $2,400 a month
Yep.
for that rental, which is more than my bills.
Yep.
So I finally got out of it and bought my own. So
Okay, cool. So, how do you like it so far?
I like it. I love it. I couldn't imagine doing it in a gas car. I drove a BMW before this, and I would be paying about $3,000 a month in gas, doing the same thing that I'm doing now. However, in the Tesla, I'm only spending about $200 a month in
Okay.
travel fees. So I'm loving it, and
Okay.
my passengers like it a lot too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from LA, so I know the Palm Springs area. I go there quite often, actually. For our audience who may not know, give a little flavor about your market. If it's seasonal, if it's
Yeah.
not, just tell us what it is.
Yeah, so Palm Springs, it's a worldwide destination. We have people from all over the world. It's not uncommon for me to randomly pick up people from Switzerland, New Zealand. There's always something going on out here, whether it's in the hot seasons in the summers, which are completely brutal, and rideshare comes to a complete
Yeah.
dead stop then. We have Coachella Fest, Stagecoach. We have the new Acrisure Arena now, where they're hosting concerts almost every week. If hockey games aren't going on, so that's pretty profitable. We're in peak season right now. We're supposed to be in peak season. Season here in the desert kicks in maybe the around the last week of September, about the second week of October. We're like pretty much dead set in it.
Yeah.
However, I don't think we're getting a season this year. It doesn't feel like we're getting a season. It
Okay.
feels still really extremely slow.
Okay.
Even considering the amount we have, the PGA golf. I don't want to encourage the out of town drivers to come out here and oversaturate our market like it's already been doing, but yeah, we have the PGA golf tournaments going on right now.
Yeah.
We have the film festival going on right now. Um, I haven't done one ride for either since they've been here. There has been not one ride.
Interesting. Okay. So,
Super weird.
so your market's seasonal, because I've been there in summer as well as
Yeah.
in peak season. Huge difference. I mean, you don't want to be in. It's like Arizona, basically. It's like you don't want to be in Phoenix or in July. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, it's 124 degrees out here.
yeah, it's brutal. It's
2 o'clock
absolutely
in the morning,
brutal.
it's 110.
Yeah, and it never cools off, right? It stays at
Mm.
100 at midnight. So.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're here to discuss. Well, so you've been doing it for a year. You have the
Yeah.
right car, as far as I'm concerned. I'm glad you got out of the rental because we said that multiple times.
Yes.
Ridiculous. You just can't make ends meet. And you're at peak season. So were you driving last January as well?
Yes. And I have a 200 a day goal, like most drivers,
Okay.
and I was hitting my goal in about 5 hours this
Okay.
time last year. Now it's taking me, I'm lucky to hit my goal if I do. Yesterday, I was out for 12 hours and I made about $185 in
Is
12
that is
hours.
is that because, I mean, what kind of driver are you? Are you like a cherry picker? Are you a hybrid, or what do you do?
I, I cherry pick. I take only the best rides. If the ride doesn't make sense, I don't take it. My acceptance rate on Uber is 11%.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I only take the best. It's not worth it. I already feel that I'm not paid enough to even put a human in my car
Okay.
for a lot of the rates that they offer. So I'm not willing to do it. So I
So,
will take the $5, the short ones, because with tips, those do add up. And I notice
yeah.
those are a lot more profitable than the $10, $15, $20 rides. So
Yeah, I was going to ask you that because it's to be the tourist or a seasonal market, right? You may be getting more tips than average, right, at season.
yes.
Okay. So you were driving last January, so you do have a valid comparison between January 2024 and January 2025. Um, okay.
I bought
So
my
you are
Tesla last January.
okay. You are on both apps, right? Uber and
Yes.
Lyft.
Yep.
Do you do other apps like food delivery and things like that?
I have them. I was doing like Amazon Flex. It's dead out here. There's nothing. It was pretty active when I was living in Moreno Valley and doing out Riverside. It was good. It's nothing out here.
Okay.
I have Instacart. I don't use. I just do the ride share. I don't do food deliveries or anything. I don't want my food to smell like car. I'm sorry. I don't want my car to smell like food.
Okay. No, I get
So
that. Some drivers like it because like when it's dead, they may just flip it on and to see just to you can still cherry pick food delivery too, by the way.
right,
So,
right.
but sometimes the
I've
tips are
considered it.
really, really good. You should give it a shot. I mean, when it's really that slow and you're seeing because in the city, like in our city, in LA, let's say, there is a season. January, February usually are pretty slow months after a great new year, right?
Hmm.
So the seasonality is different in different cities, but it seems like yours, January 2024 to 2025 is quite a different story. But let's get into the meat and potatoes of the conversation.
Yeah.
So, you emailed me and then, said, have me on. I'm like, what does this guy want?
Yeah.
Because I get like 1,500 emails. I'm like,
I'm sure.
everybody
And
wants something. I'm like, no.
you're so good about responding too, which is amazing, being that you are flooded with emails and you're good about responding. So I definitely
Tell
appreciate
him,
that.
tell him, Anwar. I
Yes.
am good.
You've
No, you know
always
what? I
responded.
read
I've
every.
sent you multiple messages like over the past year, and you've always responded. And
Yeah,
actually, in a very
you know
timely
what? I
manner. I
read
appreciate that.
everyone and I respond to everyone because that's how you build a community. And I think that
Absolutely.
was lacking before. It was nobody was responding to anything. I go like, what's happening here?
You're.
No,
I mean, you're.
I
You're.
mean,
You're.
I'm glad to do it. I'm glad to help the community, but forget about me. So let's talk about why you emailed me and what are we talking about here?
Um. Despite Lyft being, in my opinion, a lot better than Uber and being more profitable, more transparent, there's a major problem with Lyft also, and it's the way that they manipulate rides. For example, they hide details, whether it's scheduled. Being that it's so slow, I'm having to do mornings, which I normally do nights, but it's oversaturated with the LA drivers and everyone coming out here. So I've had to go to mornings, sometimes starting as early as 3:30 in the morning.
Okay.
So those rides at 3:30 in the morning, the methadone clinics, the dialysis clinic, they start ordering rides at probably about 4:45, no, about 4:30 a.m.
Okay.
All medical rides with insurance. So I started doing those. However, they're with Lyft, they mandate that the passenger schedules their rides a week in advance.
Okay.
Now, a lot can happen within a week, especially when you're dealing with somebody of that demographic, whether they're, if they're going to the drug clinic, that demographic isn't traditionally the most responsible or make the best decisions.
Yeah.
So to rely on them to keep a schedule, especially that early, it results in about 60, maybe even 70% of those rides are no shows.
Wow.
So
Okay.
yeah, When there are no shows, a lot of times what I've learned to do is I'll call the passenger as soon as I take it, even though I head out there, I'll try to reach them, reach somebody, let them know, hey, I'm on my way, and just to confirm that the person is actually going to be there.
Yeah.
Um, that doesn't work. So I end up, after accepting the ride, not realizing that it's a scheduled ride. There's no way to turn that off, and I wish I could,
Yeah.
because I get punished every single time. Almost every single time I take a scheduled ride, I end up getting punished. I have countless amounts of emails and flags on my account from Lyft for having to cancel rides. I was locked out of my account about 2 days ago during a ride. In the middle of a ride, I was locked out. I couldn't even. I had to use the GPS on my Tesla to complete the ride,
Did they put you in a
and
timeout or something?
I don't know what it was. I got no notifications. I checked my spam folder, my email. There was nothing.
Okay.
I tried to contact support. Forget about it. That's not possible. The number is disconnected. Emails don't go anywhere. They come back as dead emails. No way to get a hold of Lyft, which is another reason why I reached out to you. So the long and short of it is that being a 5-star driver, I have no write-ups. I have no accusations of anything. I'm a top driver, and my account is in jeopardy of being terminated because of the last one was just yesterday, where a passenger, I was 2 minutes away from the passenger. They canceled the ride. I got a notification that the passenger had an unpleasant experience, and my account is in jeopardy for me canceling too many times. I didn't cancel that ride.
Wow. Okay.
I'm sure that the passenger
Yeah,
didn't get
I
the
am
email.
I am aware of those issues, and I do talk to the companies, and they honestly, I think those are all automated messages, right? But the amount of trips that they do, they got to send something out. And one thing Uber and Lyft hate the most is cancellations, right?
Right.
Because they want to do the trip. But then if it's not your fault, why should you be punished? And then that feels like an employee kind of a treatment, because I'm not
Absolutely.
your employee, man, right? And most of the time you're
Absolutely.
not the one canceling, right?
Exactly. And so I'm being punished for actions of other people. I've written out letters to Lyft, and I can't get them to them anyway. But and a lot of times, especially living in this market, it's a bunch of country clubs, lots of tourism with the events like Coachella Fest and this. Sometimes you have to cancel. So I looked at my stats yesterday, and I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was very low. It was like out of 400 something rides, I canceled like maybe like 14 times or something like that.
Yeah.
And my account is in jeopardy of being so now, as it stands, even as of this morning, I went to go pick up a gentleman from the hospital here in Palm Springs to take him to Indio. I get to the hospital, he calls me and asks where I am. I said I'm out front. He said, "Oh no, that was a mistake. They ordered it wrong. I'm in Indio. I need to come to Palm
Oh
Springs, which
my
is about a
God.
40-minute drive."
Yeah.
I knew that the man wasn't showing up. I couldn't cancel that ride. I had to sit there downtown, miss other rides, and I had to sit there knowing nobody was coming to my car,
Yeah.
because if I cancel, I'm in jeopardy of losing my account,
Yeah.
which I think is complete
No, no, I
bullshit.
agree with you. I agree with you. There is definitely a problem with Lyft. You're not having this problem with Uber, are you?
Not at all. And
Yeah.
here's the thing: it's intentional. I'm a developer. I develop apps. I'm actually in the process of debugging my own rideshare app, which we can
Okay.
talk about another time. But it's my intentions are to render Uber and Lyft obsolete. So
Okay.
it's there. It's intentional. It was intentionally programmed that way, and I know this because I program applications, and it has to be intentionally done that way. So it can be stopped. However, they don't, and I feel like it's harassing. And what it does, it ruins my day, especially starting that morning. My first ride, and I'm getting harassed by Lyft. How do you think I'm gonna treat my passengers when they get in the car? I'm already irritated. I don't want to be bothered. It's a total. I mean, it's a total. It's it's terrible on the morale. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that it's a terrible business model. When I tried to reach out to during support and let them know, you know what they tell me? They say, "Oh, well, next time that happens, if you have to cancel, call us, contact us first, and then let us know you're going to cancel." Number one, I don't have time to do that. Number two, that's not an option. You can't cancel during an active trip. An active
Yeah.
trip. So I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. So at this point, I don't even want to accept rides for Lyft anymore, because I know at some point I'm going to have to cancel, whether I can't access the country club or whatever it is. I'm going to lose my account.
Okay, what if I play the devil's advocate and I say, don't take those scheduled trips because you have a problem with it?
I don't know when they're scheduled is the problem. I can't see that it's scheduled, and I don't know if it's my version of that one, I'm up to date on the app, but it doesn't show much. Even the destination where it says I'm going, it doesn't show me where I'm going. It'll say, for example, it'll show where I'm picking them up, and then my destination, it'll say such and such to show the address, and then PA. Is that Palm Springs? Is that Palm Desert? Two different sides of the city. So it doesn't really, it's not very transparent. It doesn't tell you much. And then as far as the scheduled ones, I don't see where it even says scheduled. I've tried to turn it off. I try to look, but I don't have enough time, especially if I'm on the road driving.
Okay, so the way I know it works is that, so you do have a list of scheduled trips that you can go pick as a driver, right? You have a list of them, you pick it, and then whatever fits your schedule that day, you just go pick it. If that's not the case, sometimes what happens is that drivers will cancel those scheduled trips within 10, 15 minutes of the actual pickup. And then the Lyft algorithm is trying to scramble, and then they'll send it to you as a ping, but it will say, scheduled trip, right? And so, I know you have only 15 seconds to pay attention to the screen, right? But then they do designate that when you do get a regular ping, not the ones you pick from a list, it will tell you that, yeah, this is a scheduled trip. And so, no, I fully hear you. I mean, I do know there is a problem with those. I call those passive aggressive emails, right? Because maybe you know or you don't, but I did interview the Lyft CEO and live, and I also interviewed this, head of driver operations maybe a couple of months ago on the channel
I remember that.
live, right, Jeremy? And I said, Jeremy, there is a huge problem here. There is a problem with scheduled trips. First of all, there's like a bait and switch going on. The pricing is differing quite a bit. Like you're showing this, and then when I finish the trip, it's like $5 less. I don't know why, because we made a contract for that price. You should hold that,
Exactly.
right? Okay. Supposedly we're independent contractors. And the other problem is with those passive aggressive emails. It really ruins the morale of the driver because when a passenger gets in the car, they don't know the CEO of Lyft. They don't know anything about it. They know you. You're the face of the company. And if you're in a shitty mood, right, you're going to treat that passenger badly. And then next time they're going to use Uber, Lyft is going to lose in both ends.
Yep.
Do you agree with what I just said?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. So this is what I'm going to do. I mean, I usually don't send specific videos to Lyft, but once we're done with this one and we put it up probably next week, I will send my contacts the link of this video because this has been going on and I am working with them actually trying to fix it. I go, stop those passive aggressive emails. You're not doing anybody any good. You're just not doing it, right? Okay, so I asked this to every driver I interview on Behind the Wheel. So give me two things you like about doing rideshare and give me two things, well, the two things you dislike we just talked about. So give me two
Yeah.
things you like about rideshare.
I like probably even more than two things. I like
Okay,
the
give them to me.
flexibility. I like that I can make my own schedule. I've never been one to. I'm a Sagittarius. I don't like being told what to do, so I
Okay.
can't work a 9 to 5. So I like being able to make my own schedule, work when I want to work, don't work when I don't want to work. Fortunately, I live in a really nice area where my pastor. I don't deal with a bunch of riffraff. Occasionally might get a drunk person, but they're totally fine. I meet really cool people, make cool contacts. And you can make some good money. You can make some really decent money. You have to be able to work it though. You have to be able to, actually with the low pay, you can't really rely on that. But if you can work your tips and everything, just you do a good job, you can make some decent money. So I
Okay.
do like that. What I don't like is the deceptive practices and the lack of transparency of the platforms where they will trick you into doing something or the bait and switch, change the prices on you. Oh my God, I can go on forever. We have a cancel button, which they provide. It was programmed into that application for us to use, but we get punished for using it. Why don't they just remove the button altogether if we can't use it? There's situations where you have to cancel sometimes. I can think of multiple, too many passengers. Somebody's too drunk.
Yeah.
Those aren't an option on the app. For you to cancel, no matter what the option is, I have to accept fault. That it's
Yeah.
me that's the
Well,
problem.
your cancellation rate goes up irregardless if you cancel, even according to the terms of service, you know?
Yes, And
And
now,
that's a big problem. And I know it's a problem. And you know, I do hear this quite often from many drivers, and it is more prevalent on the Lyft app than it is on the Uber app.
hmm
Uber app is pretty smooth when it comes to cancellation and
yeah.
reserve trips and things like that. So, we have a few minutes remaining, and you've been doing this for a year. Business is slow. What are you going to do? Are you going to keep doing it? Are you going to change your strategy? Or are you going to drive somewhere else? Or what are you going to do?
I'm coming up with new strategies all the time, every chance I get. I'm making ends meet. It's not easy. At this point, I'm making probably about $15 an hour. Even going between both platforms, about $15 an hour, and there's no shortage of rides. What it is that Uber and Lyft allow markets to be oversaturated with drivers, as opposed to we have companies like Amazon Flex who don't.
Yeah.
You know, so I feel that they could maybe adjust that. And I'm all for everybody. You know, sometimes there's been times I had to go to San Diego to go make some money. If it was too hot
Yeah.
out here, 125 out here, I go out there at 74 in the same
Yeah.
day. So, but if Uber and Lyft told me, say, hey, you know what? This is your market. I'll give you 5 hours out here. I'd say, okay, that's fair. I'll do that.
Okay.
So that the people who live there pay taxes in that community or in that area, people who actually the money that they earn from these rideshare platforms are actually putting back into their own economy. I think they should get first dibs at the work, and I
Okay.
feel like that should be the case here in Palm Springs too. And where right now there's 100 drivers to every two rides. You know, when I look at the Lyft and it shows,
Yeah.
nearby drivers, they're stacked on top of each other. I
Yeah.
feel that Lyft and Uber, they profit off of that. So they're not going to do
Well,
anything about that.
I mean, to them, the more drivers, the merrier, right? And then to
Yeah.
us, we're completely opposite. The less drivers, the better for us, right?
Right, right. So
Yeah, I mean, the pie, it
exactly.
feels like to me the pie is the same size, but there are more mouths to feed off the same pie.
Yeah, it
And that's
makes
a problem. And I'm pretty sure it's a bunch of LA drivers or
it
Inland
is.
Empire drivers, driving out there because their business is slow as well. And so this freedom and flexibility thing cuts both ways, I think. So,
What's
um,
interesting though is that the areas that they come from, when it's slow here, I've gone to those areas to work. I have people
okay.
coming from Redlands. Redlands
Hmm.
is busy. Sometimes
Hmm.
I don't do long trips, but if I just need a quick $100 or $80 or something, I might take a ride out to Riverside or something. I'll stay out there and work because it's busy. It's more busy than here.
Yeah.
So what I don't understand is why drivers are driving 2 hours. I got picked up by an Uber driver who drove 2 hours every day from LA and then back. That's 4 hours commuting to
Wow.
come to Palm Springs to make nothing.
Doesn't
It
make
seems
any
like he would
sense.
make more money. It'll be more profitable to stay in his own area and just break even.
Well, it doesn't make any sense to me to drive
Yeah.
that far, unless you're working Coachella or something like that, maybe,
Right.
but not for regular driving. LA is pretty busy as it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll give you the floor. I'll give you a couple of minutes. Just close us up. Give us some advice. Give us whatever it is in your mind and your heart, and then we'll end it here.
My advice is for Uber and Lyft. Actually, yeah, actually for both of them, I feel that your business model is extremely flawed. It's working for you, however, it's not working for the people who are actually making your business go. You don't have a business without your drivers. I talk to upwards 20 different passengers a day, and I have a sign in the back of my car that kind of breaks down the fares and how it works, which helps increase my tips. And it's a great conversation starter because the first thing they want to know is, does Uber and Lyft really take that much from each ride? Absolutely, they do, which actually helps with my tips as well because they
Yeah.
feel bad and they say, hey, you know what? Here's an extra 20. So that actually, I'm making more off of tips than I am off the rideshare app. So my advice to them is to focus a little bit more on the people, the hands that are putting the pork chops on your plate. Don't knock a pork chop off our plate. You know, focus more on us. Try to make things a little bit more fair. When I came on last year, we're making about a dollar per mile. I think we're probably about 35 cents a mile now. I'm getting offers. I have tons of screenshots from Uber and Lyft. I'm sorry, from Uber, offering me rides 80 miles away for 26 bucks. And it's all day, every day. So I reject probably 90% of Uber rides. So you're going to lose me as a driver. Uber, you're actually losing a lot of riders to Lyft
Yep.
because they're getting picked up faster, because drivers are taking those rides faster because they're more profitable.
Yeah.
When you're not offering your driver any money to do the ride, guess what? Your passenger doesn't get picked up. So what do? They say, okay, well, let me try Lyft. Ding, ding, they got picked up. They got a better rate. You think they're going to come back to Uber? Absolutely not. But I know that Uber is trying to go autonomous, which I don't know if they're trying to get rid of all the drivers. I don't know what they're doing, but I got an app for that, so don't trip.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, that and then also to stay within the law. Um, punishing drivers for rejecting rides. We're independent contractors.
Yeah.
We can manage our time. We can manage our finances any way we choose. We're not employees. You don't pay my retirement. You don't pay me benefits, healthcare, anything like that. So you don't have the right to dictate how I manage my time. So to punish me for canceling a trip is actually a violation of Civil Code 1668.
You wrote it down.
Yeah. To or and oh, I mean, we have a bunch. And for passengers cancellation for a passenger showing up to be punished for that, that's a violation of California Labor Code 2775.
Yeah, well, that's, you know what it is, Anwar, because they get away with all that because of the independent contractor status, right?
Yeah.
And because they passed Prop 22, and then they guaranteed that everybody stays independent contractor.
Mm-hmm.
So no,
Speaking
I
of
do hear
employees,
you. I'm going to definitely send this video, the whole thing, to the powers to be at Lyft. Lyft, there's a problem, Houston. I mean, we know there is one. This is not the first time I'm hearing this from you, but I felt compelled to put you on and tell your story.
I appreciate
And, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate your time. And,
I got one more thing too.
huh?
I have one more thing. If you got a second,
Okay, go for it.
Senator Josh Hawley is cracking down on Amazon Flex right now for their unethical practices and treating their drivers like employees, for the DSPs,
Yep.
cracking down on them. I really, really hope that Senator Josh Hawley does the same with Uber and Lyft and kind of cracks the whip and has them comply with the laws that are in place to protect drivers and riders alike. It's not just about the riders, it's about the drivers too. You don't have a rider without a driver.
I agree.
So I feel like, especially with the new administration coming in, Uber, Lyft, you could be in some hot water. I say get it together now. If you got to give us an extra 10 cents per ride, it's not going to hurt you. You're doing 1.1 million trips per hour. You can afford it.
All right.
So,
Well, here's Anwar. My hat's off to you. Thank you so much. You hang in there.
thank you,
Hope things
Sergio.
pick up. And more importantly, we know what happened with the fires in LA,
Yes.
and life can change on a dime. So
Yes.
stay healthy and be safe out there, please.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on, Sergio. I appreciate what you do.
Take care.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for watching this episode of Behind the Wheel on the Rideshare Guy. We've been doing these interviews for the past 6 months with very successful drivers from different cities around the nation. Click here for another episode. Make sure you subscribe and turn on all notifications for other episodes of Behind the Wheel, as well as amazing content on our channel.